With everything inspected where we want it to be, we had to take it apart one more time because now we're at the final stage.
It is a dial with an SUV going downhill. That is your downhill assist.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Defiant Jeep. Today we're going to be working on another project. In fact, we're going to be correcting one that we had done before. As you remember, on V-Notch we went ahead and installed that rear bumper that had that tire carrier. But there's a problem with the tire carrier. After so much time and wear, it's now become unreliable. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so this tire carrier still holds the tire in place. But here's the situation with this design. I don't know if you can see. It's got a lot of shape to it. You know, you can see that it is no longer angled. Like, let me show you the other side. It is no longer sitting straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove this swing gate. And it's got this little turnbuckle right here for its tension and whatnot. And then we're going to replace it with a new item. We're going to go ahead and replace it with the Smittybilt heavy duty pivot carrier, which is going to attach itself to the factory hinge locations. It does come with heavy duty hinges already built into it, and it is attached right here to the other hinge locations directly to the tailgate. This is going to prevent this tire from shaking around so much. It's going to prevent that gate from becoming weaker as it is, and at the same time the tire is going to be more stable. Now this tire carrier does have many pluses to it. It does come with two mounting locations for like LED whip lights or a GMRS antenna or stuff like that. It did come with those two locations. It is a heavy duty coated, so it is definitely going to handle the weather. And of course, as a pivot, you can mount it straight, or if you got that notch back, you can pretty much mount it at a slant. This way you can pretty much customize how you want to mount your tire. But first, I'm going to go ahead and dismount the tire and get prepared. In fact, let me show you a couple things here. All right, so I have to dismount the tire. That's going to come off. I am going to take off this LED whip. V-Notch is going to lose those purple coverings for the hinges. And I'm going to need a few tools like a T55 Torx, a 13mm, 10mm, and maybe something else for the bigger nuts there. But yeah, but all that business is coming off, and while I'm here, I got plenty of work to do because I'm gonna have to take off this tray table right here. Oop, that's in the way. I'm gonna have to take all of V-Notch, all this inside over here, so we got plenty to do. All right, this is the part where I'm gonna get my button gear and start taking stuff apart before I start to disassemble, start removing items before I start to disassemble. This will be hopefully no more than a 3-hour project. This item is very, very heavy. It attaches to the tailgate itself and the hinges, and you have the separate part that attaches to that and to the center of the tailgate where you mount your spare tire. And I also have to transfer all of the equipment for the camera. So let's go ahead and get ready. I'm going to start removing all kinds of stuff, including all those tools. I got to find out where I'm going to put all this stuff because I need a very clean area. There's a lot of disassembly to go on here, so that I can start to put it back together with the right stuff. Let's get started. Alrighty, as you can see right behind me, I got pretty much most of it out, but it's still going to be a bit of a challenge because there's other fixtures installed in V-Notch, and let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so starting right here at the tailgate, I went ahead and I removed the table that was here. We still have to remove this item here because we have to get to the wiring behind it. Now, all the tools that are at the lower end, I went ahead and removed them because there is this, what do they call it, like a cargo basket. It's still installed. I'm going to do my best to go around it instead of removing all of this business here, because that's just going to add to the work I got to do here. Now, there was a cover, there was here. I went ahead and I lifted it and pulled it, but be careful as you pull it because you got these tabs here. You got 2 on each side, and be careful as you pull those. You don't want those to break. And of course, there was a cover that went right here. I will remove that as well. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove these 3 fastening hooks. We are going to remove this panel here. I'm sorry, this panel right here. I'm all over the place right now. Be mindful of the subwoofer. If some of you do have a subwoofer, there is a wire that you have to disconnect as you're removing this panel here. You have this access port right here. We need to remove this to take that tail light off of the passenger side. As I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and pull this covering right here because we're going to pull some of the wiring. We need to get a lot of this here business done so that we can start to disassemble the hinge side. Alrighty, so right here on the hinge side, we're going to go ahead and do whatever we got to do on that, and we're going to remove the panel on the inside to get to the bolts that hold the hinges in place. Now, this type of carrier is provided by several different manufacturers out there. Some of them tell you are going to have to remove the tailgate. I'm going to do my best not to do that. In fact, I'm going to use some painter's tape to, let me close this. That didn't close very well. These seams right here where the tailgate is to the body, I'm going to put some painter's tape there, and I'm going to put some painter's tape right here at the door seam as well. Hopefully I can do that to help secure the tailgate in place without me having to do a lot of disassembly. I really like to go in that direction. Shoot, now that I think about it, I think I took off that tailgate table for nothing. And that was a pain in the backyard too. But okay, let me go ahead and get that started. Get me a drop of water. It's like stupid hot right now. It is, what is today's date? It's like the 17th of July in Las Vegas, man. It's freaking hot. But all right, let me go ahead and get started. Let's start taking this business apart so we can do what we got to do to install at least the first or the primary half of the heavy duty carrier. Alrighty, for this first part right here, we're going to go ahead and take care of these 3 mounting hooks. Now I went ahead and I pre-prepared this. This is just a little cover that you can pop up. Now let me put this down for a second. Now in order to release these, you can either use your plastic pry tool, which is usually most recommended when using interior little fixtures made out of plastic. You can also use a flathead screwdriver, and I opted for either one because it's super easy. You just wedge in there and pop it off. And like I said, I got these pre-prepared just so I can be advanced. Now you're also going to remove this access panel right here for that 10mm screw to remove your tail light. In fact, let me remove that one right now just so that we're ready for it. And that's it. It pops right off. I'm going to go ahead and put this to a side. At least that one's ready. Yeah, I guess that's good enough for government work right there. Put these here so I don't move some of these pieces. Okay, so now with my T40, let's go ahead and remove these. Just like that. With the bolt released, the hook comes off. Just remember the orientation. The 2 most to the rear, they flap forward. The one going to the front flaps forward. So let's go ahead and grab these off and pull them to a side. And it doesn't matter which one goes where, so long as you remember the orientation when they're going to be installed. And here we go. That's out. We should be able to remove this panel. Let's put that to a side. Now, let's take that little 10mm and get that tail light out of the way. All right, and there it is. Somewhat long, specific assembly. Got a spring on it. You want to be careful with this. Don't lose it. Don't break it. This is a dealer item only. I can only imagine it's not cheap because it's a non-wearing item. So yeah, you just be careful with this. Body's made out of plastic, so you really don't want to manhandle it too much. But oh, it looks like it also has a fitting for a Torx if you don't want to use a 10mm. Let's go and put that to a side. Okay, while I'm here, we're going to go ahead and protect this tail light. We're going to go ahead and remove it. Alrighty, so I got the tail light off and my tact was a little off. I was trying to get it by the tab right here, which is incorrect. The other plug that's on this side, I don't know if you can see right in there, there's a little tab that I wedged my little pocket screwdriver in there under the tab and lifted up, and I was able to slide out the plug. So yeah, it's been a minute since I changed some tail lights, so yeah, I feel super good about that. But already, now that the tail light is off, that's off, all we got to do is really put this tail light up here. Let me get my hat. I think we're at the point where we just need to pull off this panel right here, and I believe the panel is all clips. Let me just put everything here in one spot so I know where everything is. Okay, I think that's what it is. So we're ready to go. Let's see how we're gonna separate this fella. Alrighty, so I got it off. It is a single white plug, just one squeeze tab on the side facing forward. Squeeze it in super tight and then pull on it, and it seemed to have felt a little seized because it's never been removed before, but it's all right. Now we got this fella out the way, we can definitely move forward. I know everything's starting to look ugly at this point, but that's pretty much like any job. It's going to look uglier before it looks pretty. Okay, so we got that out of the way. All the tools are in one spot. Okay, so now we're looking at this area right here, and you hear that? Little like a seal. I don't know what it's made out of. Let's try and pick it out of there. However, we're gonna do that. Let's try this thing. Let me get the cog spin and see what's the best way I can remove this without creating damage. Alrighty, and here we are. Okay, so we had these panels, which they really are some kind of plastic paper type sticker, and they are covering these areas right here where the hinge bolts are. I can't get you a better shot, but I'll re-angle that. But as soon as these come off of here, they peel off, and what I did is I used my pocket screwdriver as kind of like a little wedge, and I kind of lightly scrape and scrape and scrape until there's enough to grab it with my fingers, and I just peeled it away. Now these panels where the 3 bolts for the top and the 3 bolts for the bottom are now exposed. I am actually ready to start taking off the hinge here. But before I do that, let's do some prep on the outside of the tailgate before I remove the hinges. So let me get you all repositioned, and we're gonna keep on moving forward. Alrighty, we are pretty much getting ready for our real disassembly here. Now there's a couple of things we need to be mindful of. We first remember that this was not a factory spare tire mount. This is something that we had installed sometime, I don't know, I'm gonna guess about a year ago or something like that. So we're kind of gonna sway away from the installation instructions from Smittybilt because I'm replacing an aftermarket spare tire carrier with a different aftermarket spare tire carrier. There are some things to consider, and you know, just remember that we're not using factory parts, so you are going to be expected to use some factory parts. So as you're disassembling your rig and updating to whatever it is, try and keep as much as you can. There's going to be many items that you believe you're never going to use again, but there's going to be a small intricate amount of pieces that you will need. And for example, this mount right here is the one that came with this, I forgot what off-brand Chinese bumper brand this is. It came with this, but this is all welded here as part of this plate and all. I cannot use it on the Smittybilt. You are expected to use the, what do they call it, the spare tire carrier stud bracket, which I'm the genius that threw mine away. I ordered another one. It's on the way, so we're going to get as far with this part of the project as we can, and then we're going to assemble the center section. Then we'll continue with the assembly of the whole thing. But while we're here, let's make that prep. And of course, I did take off this plate right here that's got the camera. Let's be careful with this. We are going to reuse this camera. We're going to pop this little fella out of here, and we're not going to reuse this because it's part of this kit. We can pop that out momentarily or a little later. But right now, we're going to focus on this item right here. Let me see. That's going to stay there. We're going to, okay, groovy. I'm going to get a 14mm for here and a 13mm for here. That's not necessarily part of the factory assembly, but we're going to disengage this turnbuckle right here. I got this nut for the bearings right over here for the I guess the pivot of the swing gate. We're going to remove this swing gate. We're also going to be careful that we have this cable right here. Where is this cable going? We do not need to be careful with this cable because I just got it out of the way, so we're groovy. We are going to remove this plate here, and we're going to reinstall the factory tailgate vents. That is another item that I believed I did not ever need again. I was wrong because now we're making another upgrade. I reordered those from Quadratech. Super cheap, 13 bucks each. I am not an affiliate with Quadratech, but I'm telling you, well, I'll go to the dealer. That's where you can find them. I'm gonna reinstall those, but let's go ahead and get started here. We're gonna disassemble here. We're gonna disassemble here. We're gonna lift the swing gate off. We're gonna throw it in the yard. We're gonna take off this mounting plate because it's so flat. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me get some tools. Okay, so this assembly, for all intents and purposes, we're not going to use it anymore. Let's see if I can lift it without making hella mess. Ooh, there she goes. All right, so now you can look at the stud. In fact, I'll show it to you in a second. Let me put this down. Alrighty, just want to show you this super quick with the swing gate removed. Looks like the upper bearing is inside the swing arm. There's a lower bearing, and as I mentioned before, it is packed with grease. So we're going to go ahead and remove that lower bearing. We're going to clean off all that grease. More than likely, this stud is never going to be reused. So I'm going to go ahead and get like a reciprocating saw or a cutting wheel, which is going to lob that off like a tree branch. Let's take a look at the swing arm real quick. And I did take my gloves off so I don't soil them. There is the cap. And we go over here. Yeah, you can see the other bearing inside there. So that's good to go. Alrighty, with the swing arm out of the way, or the swing gate out of the way, I'm still going to clean up that area right here. But first, let's remove these 8 13mm bolts. That's going to release this plate, and this also is going to make it to the recycle bin. All right, now that this backing plate or support is removed, we're going to go toss that to a side. And like we do anything here at Defiant Jeep, this entire surface is going to be cleaned before we mark the new plate on there. We're also going to, as we move forward, we're going to go ahead and remove these hinges here, we're going to, actually let me do this first, clean up that area. Then we're going to get these 6 bolts inside, the 3 top and the 3 bottom. Let me go ahead and start cleaning this. Before that, let me grab some supplies. Alrighty, with most of the prep already done, let me go ahead and put this down. Most of the prep already done. I went ahead and I cleaned off my areas. I put on painter's tape on the edges. As you can see, well, you can't see that side, but it's done all the way down by the handle. And this is going to help me pretty much keep the tailgate in place and somewhat lined up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom 2, which is a T55. I'm going to loosen those and kind of keep them there dangling. I'm going to loosen them. I want some kind of support. This is the TerraFlex, I guess, antenna mount or whip mount, which I had to replace the bolts with these probably 15mm heads. We're going to do the same. I am going to actually remove these just to get this off of here, but I'm going to lightly thread these back on just to have some kind of support on the tailgate on the outside hinge. And what I'm going to do when we go inside, we're going to remove all 6 of those and we go ahead and get that started. Oh, before I do that, as I mentioned before, that your vehicle does come with the tailgate vent. Mine are somewhere misplaced. I don't know where they are. I went ahead and ordered new ones. I got these from Quadratech, as I mentioned before. They're not expensive, about $13 each. Let's go ahead and pop these on before we get started. At least this is done. We get this part out of the way, and then we will continue to prep the outside. All right, so that's pretty much what you're looking at. Now, the whole purpose of these things right here is for cabin pressure. When you close any of the doors, you always hear that little, I guess, thud like there's some kind of pressure keeping the door from closing correctly. As the pressure is built up into the cabin itself, whether it be the passenger compartment all the way up to the cargo area, because it's completely open. So when you close the tailgate, if you actually look at these things, the flaps move like that, letting you know that the cabin pressure is passing through that. You can easily close any of your doors or the tailgate without having any extra resistance. Now that these are in place, we can actually go ahead and move forward. Let's go ahead and I'm going to grab my T55. I'm going to loosen these fellas right here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with these 15mm. I'm going to remove this bracket and then put them bolts back on. Let me grab my T55 and my ratchet. And the T55 is a torque socket that you'll next to never use. This is probably the only spot on any Jeep, whether it be a JK or JL or JT, that has a T55. So instead of spending whatever amount of money to find yourself a T55, if you're going to do this work, hopefully you have a friend that's got 1 or 2 that let you borrow one. I don't believe it's worth the expense for you to buy it for the one-time use when you can borrow from a buddy. You know, most of y'all know me, I got 2 of them. But you know, I'm also a tool monger. I like to buy tools, so luckily I have this. Let's go ahead and get these out. Okay, now these are the mounts that's on here. This is these mounts we're going to remove off of this and put them on the carrier itself, because we're looking at our trail flag right here and the LED whip. So we're going to keep these mounts and just transfer them. Let me go ahead and get this bolt out of here. Let me go ahead and put this down. There you go. Good enough for government work. Alrighty. This is the part where we're ready to go. Let's go ahead and give you another shot. We're going to go ahead and start to attack those 6 bolts for the inner hinge. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and start getting these bolts here for the inner hinge. Now we got 3 on the top and 3 on the bottom, and this is the part where I'm using my 13mm. Alrighty, with all 6 bolts out, we are ready to remove the hinges. Alrighty, this is the part where now we're going to be careful and put that down. We got all 6 bolts from the inner hinge removed. That's the 3 top, the 3 bottom. Let's go ahead and remove these lowers here. and this hinge, the top hinge, is now fully removed. It is unfortunate, V-Notch, you will lose these purple hinge covers, but we're no longer going to use the factory hinges. But we'll keep these in storage for some future use if that occasion comes around. I'm going to put this down. All right, let's go ahead and remove the lower hinge. A little tighter to come out because now all the weight is on those bolts. Let me get a ratchet, and I'm going to use a 3-inch extension just so I can give myself a little leverage. And you can see, well, you probably can't see it on your screen there, that the tape is stressing a little bit. So that's a good sign that the tape is doing its job. It's also letting us know that the weight of the tailgate is really taking an effect. Luckily, we got the tape there to keep it supported. Let's put that down. Let's grab this bad boy out of here. All right, and here is the lower hinge with the factory T55 bolts. Go ahead and put that down. We're gonna go ahead and grab our Smittybilt HD carrier support that goes right here. We're going to clean off this area first. We are going to go ahead and mount the 6 bolts that go back in there. I'm not going to show you that. We're just going to do it in reverse of how we took them off. And then we're going to mount it right here. And once this is mounted up, this tailgate's going to be secure. Let's go ahead and get whatever supplies we need to get this part finished up.